I'm going to go over the reorder process and generate automatic purchase orders. The most commonly asked question is, when do I start placing reorders? To determine this, we base it on when you open and start entering sales. Halloween Express charts these sales to past years and other current locations. I'm going to be giving an example of a basic reorder percentage. There is not one standard reorder that will fit every store. That is why it is very important that you discuss with your representative your weekly sales report so they can advise you the best percentage to use. The other exception is based on dates. For example, the later in the season, the less you want to order on decorations and kids' costumes. This again will vary from store to store, so it is important to discuss this with your representative. To create a RIX reorder, from the main RIX Enterprise menu, click on the Inventory tab up at the top, Purchasing on the left, and Generate Automatic Purchase Orders below that. When the Generate Automatic Purchase Order screen opens up, it will default to the Options tab. Under what type of order is this? The default is Initial Order based on model stocks. Change it to the Reorder based on sell-through percent by clicking on the Reorder radio dial. I'm going to be showing you an example of the formula that Halloween Express stores would use up until October 15th, but it is based on sales and location. Once again, there are exceptions, so if you have questions, check with your representative. We're going to select the sales period of year to date. Halloween Express stores will normally use year to date. Under what sales period do you want to analyze, the default is year to date. Keep it on year to date. If year to date is not selected, click on the drop down arrow and select year to date. Example, on line 1 under beginning sell-through percent. We're going to type in 30%. We're going to tab over to ending sell-through percent, and that's going to be 49%. Tab over to sales multiplier, and that's going to be 2. What this breaks down to is any items that have a 30 to 49% sell-through, you will be ordering 2 times what you have sold thus far. So if you sold 2 of an item, it would generate an order of 4. We're going to tab down to line 2. We're going to put a beginning sell-through percent of 50%. Tab over to ending sell-through percent, and that's going to be 100%, and tab to sales multiplier, and the sales multiplier is going to be 3. What this breaks down to is any items that have a 50 to 100% sell-through, you'll be ordering 3 times what you have sold thus far. Now we're going to go down to Bill to Store. If you're a single store, the Bill to Store should automatically come up on the screen. If you're a multiple store, you're going to type in the Bill to Store number. This will be the 3-digit store number you're ordering for. Ship date, cancel date, and payment date. These dates are normally not known when placing reorders, so you can leave those blank. The alert message. You can type an alert message in the alert message text box if needed. If an alert message is typed, it will pop up on the screen when receiving that purchase order. Split shipment and back order. You can normally leave these blank for those check boxes. The next step is we're going to click on the Criteria tab up at the top to the right of Options. The first section is by store. You will only see this field if you are an owner that has multiple stores. You can click to the right of By Store field to type the store number to place this order for. You could also use the icon and use the lookup tool to find the correct store as well. The By Store State. This field will normally be left blank. And you'll only see this field if you're an owner that has multiple stores. By supplier. This should be blank to include all suppliers or list each one to run a single supplier. If you are doing a single supplier at a time, this will be the 4-letter supplier code for the order you are placing. If you are selecting one supplier at a time, type the 4-letter supplier code to the right of By Supplier field and press Tab. You can also use the magnifying glass icon or the lookup tool to find the correct supplier and select it. Tab down to By Class. This should always exclude the non-retail display. So if you click on the drop-down arrow, you want to scroll down to the list to Displays and check the one that says Non-Retail Display. Once you find it, click on Non-Retail Displays and click on the OK button. You also want to click on the checkbox to the right of By Class that says EXC. That means to exclude the non-retail display class. You tab down to By SKU. This should normally be blank to include all SKUs. You can tab over to Product Custom Entries. The SKU groups will be left blank and the seasons will be left blank. You can go to SKU Status. This is very important. We want to enter a Z for discontinued, a ZZ for discontinued vendor, and a ZZZ for old merchandise. And then we'll check the EXC for exclude to the right of discontinued status. So to get the lookup, you can do your %, and we're going to choose Z discontinued, a comma, %, ZZ discontinued vendor, comma, %, and ZZZ old merchandise. And to the right of that, click on EXC to exclude those three for the SKU status. We want to make sure we always exclude the Z discontinued, ZZ discontinued vendor, and the ZZZ old merchandise. If you don't exclude these items, you could potentially order product that is not available anymore or in the current program. So from here, the preview button at the bottom of the screen allows you to preview the order first. By clicking on preview, it will not create the purchase order in RICS. It will allow you to preview the order that would be created so you can see what your order total would be before actually creating the PO. So we can click on the preview button. The preview will be generated, and the report will display on the screen, giving you the chance to preview this to verify you have sold enough items to place a reorder. Once you preview it, you can close out of that, and down at the bottom you can click on the button that says Create PO and Print. It will then automatically take you to the report history screen. This will display the automatic purchase order or orders that were generated. To view one of the purchase orders on the screen, click on it. This will bring that order up on the screen. At the top of the screen, you can click on the Last Page button, and that'll bring you to the very last page of that order. So you can take a look at your totals. Remember, there can only be one reorder per store and supplier. So after you export the reorder and email it to the supplier, you'll want to make sure that you go into Enter Purchase Order and change the order type to Initial. That way you can generate another reorder for next week if needed. To change a reorder, to change a purchase order from a reorder to an initial order, so that way you can place another reorder, you'll want to go to Inventory Purchasing and Enter Purchase Orders. To view the instructions on that, you'll view the procedure guide for Halloween Express for the instructions on changing the PO type. And that completes how to do a reorder and generate automatic purchase orders.